Well, what have you been able to work on in practice? This has obviously been a longer stretch than usual in between games. I imagine probably maybe being able to go at it a little bit more. What have you guys gotten accomplished?
Yeah, we were off on Thursday and Friday, practice Saturday and Sunday, and we did, Cole. That got into some competitive type drills, some 4-on-4 cutthroat in the half court, make it take it to three with the offense, make it take it to three with the defense. Able to do some things to really ramp up the competitive part of practices again, and that stretch and was playing that many games. Really it's focused on the game prep, and you're always getting ready for that next opponent. So the competitive part of it was a lot of it Saturday and Sunday, and then just getting some reps for some guys that haven't played as much. That's been good as well.
This has been a season of adjustments, especially after AJ went down, Antoine went out, getting tightened back. How do you feel the offense and the defense, how settled they are going into this last series, and then with Arch Madness behind it, with the guys knowing what you're trying to get done on both ends of the floor?
For some guys, Cole, they're in a pretty good spot at both ends. You take probably the 5 or 6 guys that have played the most minutes, that have been they've been healthy, been a part of the practices, been on the game floor a lot. Those 5 or 6 guys have continued to make progress and probably in a pretty good spot. Guys that have been Titan, for example, who missed so much of practice time, and of course all of the game time up until the Southern Illinois series. Taiwan had a 10-day stretch recently where he wasn't able to practice. James, similar, 10, 12 days. So those guys probably not as comfortable because they haven't had the practice reps and they haven't had the game experience. But that's part of it. You hit it off the top of your question, Cole. That's just been having to make some adjustments and having to go out sometimes without a lot of practice reps and be a part of the game and work to do what you can to play at a high level. So I would say we got probably 5 or 6 guys, Cole, that have been that probably feel pretty comfortable and pretty confident with things that we're doing. Then we got another 4 or 5 guys that have missed some practices or haven't played as much that are still even at this point, even late in the year, still working to get a little more comfortable.
When it comes to Noah, he's had some really great games. He's had some okay games. Maybe he's had some games that have been maybe not quite meeting his or your standards, but like we've talked all season, he's a young guy, he's a true sophomore. I'm just curious, Ben, is there anybody that you can recall that has had this sort of experience as an underclassman for you, where they'll have some games where they're really producing a lot, providing a lot of points, and then other games a team is really able to hold them down on the scouting report, and then just navigating that season with that player who has these high highs, and then sometimes it's a real grind.
Yeah, I don't. I think so much of it goes to what we've talked about with Noah. And he's young, and again did not have a lot of game minutes a year ago, and has done a terrific job in a number of games and a number of spots for us this year, and it's he's to get I think he 23 points and 12, 13 rebounds, that kind of double is really terrific. Whether you're a young guy or you're a guy with a lot of experience, that's some of those games at the higher end have just been tremendous for Noah. And so the thing that we've talked about the most is his consistency on the practice floor, his consistency of when we get to back-to-back games on a Saturday, Sunday, being able to to play 80 minutes at the same level from a effort standpoint, from a determination standpoint, and having a great mentality for longer stretches in terms of the determination to get things done the way that they can help our team. So I've been really proud of Noah. Because he's had some terrific games, and he's a young guy, and so we're the thing that he's working the hardest on is having a better consistency, which is what a lot of young guys go through.
I guess just the player that maybe came to mind for me was Anthony James as an underclassman. His ability to score in bunches, but then there were other games too where Anthony didn't score as much, but he was a really good defender too. So that was just kind of the one comparison I guess I can think of if it's a comparison.
Yeah, the teams that they were on when they were young, I would say, Cole, is their roles on the teams when they were maybe the same age. As freshmen, they were similar. AJ was playing a little bit on that championship team when he was a freshman, and then right now, Noah's in a prominent role for us, and I think it's great. I know I touched on it last week, man. That, having responsibility is awesome, and it's awesome because you get both ends of the spectrum. When you're playing great, you pick up some confidence and you pick up some momentum, and when you don't, you learn about the things that you have to do to be able to do it consistently. So this has been a great year for Noah, Cole. It's been a great year for him. That doesn't mean he's played great every night, as we're talking about. He's been up and down, but he's had a ton of responsibility, and you learn so much when you've got that kind of responsibility, and so he's working hard in terms of just being working to be more consistent.
Thanks, Ben.
Yep.
And from a record standpoint, Illinois State obviously is very similar to your program. What are you seeing out of Illinois State? What concerns you most?
Yeah, most of their lineups are with four guards around one of their bigs. Their young big kid is one of the more improved players in the league. He's stepping out and making shots from the 3-point line. He's got a lot of length defensively, and then the four guards that they put around him have been really good at both ends. They handle the basketball with a number of different guys. They've had a number of different guys that make threes. Defensively, they've played a lot of their zone. It's the same zone that Dan has played for most of the years that he's been there, and it's not your traditional 2-3 zone or 3-2 zone that you'll see from teams when they do play some zone. It's a zone that you don't see or play against very often. But they're playing a lot of zone. They'll mix in some man-to-man, but most of the time they've played their zone, and their four guards have been really good in that as well. So they've got guards that are really active. A lot of versatility with the four guards that they're playing, and it isn't just four players. They've got a number of guys that come in off the bench. When I talk about four guards, the lineups that they have on the floor generally will have a center and four perimeter players around them. So I think their guys are playing their best basketball. Guys seem to have picked up quite a bit of momentum and confidence when you watch them in their last 4 or 5 games compared to early on in the conference season. So they've played some really good games. You look at their game at Drake when had a chance to beat them and ended up getting beaten overtime, and you can point to some other ones. And yeah, like you said, maybe similar to our team. We've had some games where we've played really well. We've had some games where we haven't been quite as good, and but they've got one of the challenges that we'll have this weekend is the activity level. Multiple guys that handle the ball, multiple guys that make threes. They're changing defenses. They're going to press. They can throw a lot of things at you because they've got a lineup that can do it.